So in reality, what is the difference between when we attempt to make these strange experiences occur and normal everyday life? All I can do is try and provide you with a bit of an analogy, because like during your day your mind becomes concerned with your day-to-day issues, getting the laundry done, doing your food shopping, getting on with your work, using your social skills and all the various environments that you're in, and it kind of like reduces your perspective. Every state of mind has its own associated brainwave frequency. This is what I've learned as a result of playing around with mind machines and binaural beats. Okay, you change your brainwave frequency with strobe light and beeping noises in a good quality mind machine. A program you've created may be using software, and you lie down, you put on the glasses, the whole mind machine experience. And you will change your state of consciousness. You will be in a different state of mind. It will feel different. There'll be a certain tangible state of reality which is different to it. Just like, getting older, you experience reality different from when you're younger. When you're angry, you experience reality different from when you're calm and peaceful and loving and friendly. When you're in one of these deliberate attempts to create a sacred space. Let's say you set up an altar, you got candles burning all around you, and all that stuff. You're chanting strange words, the meaning of which is lost to your memory because you don't speak Aramaic or ancient Hebrew or something, and it sounds weird. It feels reverent, or it's a different state of brainwave activity. When you're going into meditation, when you're expanding your mind that way, you're again adjusting the brainwave frequency, so you're not in the same state of mind that you're in when you're going about your day-to-day life and being analytical and objective and rational and thinking things through and planning your day and all that kind of stuff. How else can I explain this? I mean, there's things which you know right now. You know how vast the universe is. You know that Mars is a bloody long way away. The moon is a bloody long way away. You understand that the moon's going round the Earth and it's a massive rock and it was formed so many billion years ago or whatever. And you're aware that all those little marks on the moon is caused by asteroid impacts, and it's also amazing. But yet, after a long day, you sit down and watch, let's say, a documentary on one of those cool channels, and it's all talking about space and the recent discoveries, and you see all that beautiful photographic footage of the Horsehead Nebula and all the rest of that taken with the Hubble Space Telescope. You are, wow, my God, that's so big, that's so amazing, that's so far out there. But that stuff you already know. You know it's massive, you know it's all this, that and the other. But your mind becomes aware of it. The awareness of it is brought to you through the visual and audio stimulation of the TV show or the documentary. It changes your focus of awareness somehow. Okay, still within the whole mundane world. You're not in a sacred space when you're watching that kind of show, unless of course you're a variety of deist who regards that as being a spiritual exercise in its own right. Okay, but take it a step further and you go into all the really complex mind-blowing stuff about consciousness being all around the universe and concepts of what God is and all this kind of stuff, and even some of the quantum physics thinking, this physical matter is 99.3% nothingness, okay, and it's only covalent bonds and electromagnetic bonds which holds everything together and all that kind of stuff, and it's all you become aware of it. You're changing your awareness. The gamma brainwave frequency, which is that very religious, tranquil, aware, hyper state, often associated with astral projection, has its own feeling to it, and that feeling is symptomatic of the brainwave frequency. So if you can reach that feeling, you're changing your state of mind. If you couple that up with all these weird and wonderful concepts which are taken from the whole New Age world, or the occult world, or the religious world, or you just even Christian religion has got this stuff in it. Okay, mind-blowing stuff which is like simplified for human understanding through words in plain English. If you take those words in plain English and remove like the words, but keep the concept hanging there in the air in your mind as something you're focused on, not as in something in a singular point, but something that blows the mind and kind of like makes you think outwardly rather than think inwardly, which is a difficult thing for me to explain because I'm trying to use words to explain a frequency which is a abnormal brainwave frequency, which you can only develop through in like some intense messed up religious state of mind or excessive use of a mind machine. You know, things can start to get a bit weird. So the whole thing about, well, why don't we have experiences of angels and ghosts and the rest of that through our day-to-day life? Our brain isn't there. It isn't in that state of mind where we're not, using the rest of the capacity. We're not in that kind of like, for want of a better word, okay, magical state of mind. You're not in that particular frame of awareness. Your mind is not focused on all those things. You're not in doing either the alpha theta stuff or the shamanic type experiences or the gamma type frequencies for spiritual and God type experiences and astral projection and that kind of stuff. You're not using the visualizations and being able to sense in a kind of like an almost tactile way what the energy or whatever the fuck it is moving, and you're visualizing it, this, that, and the other, and combining visualization with tactical experience and changing your position and focus of awareness and all this stuff all rolled into one, as well as removing all like the chattering rubbish that goes on inside the back of your mind associated with your shopping list and, oh, should I have won that argument, or what does that person really think of me, which is all the stuff which brings you down into back into the whole material world, physical thinking, kind of like mundane stuff where nothing happens. Okay, you got to kind of somehow remove all of that stuff, and if you can do that with all your exercises and the rest of it, then hey presto, something good can, some kind of like, can start to occur. That's the way it seems to be. So of course, for like the average individual, they're not going to have an experience of like, ghosts and astral projection and spirits and energies and all this kind of stuff, because our lives, our regular day-to-day lives, do not put us in that state of being. It can't. Alright, that normal mundane state of being is a state of being for survival. Okay, it's a state of being for dealing with issues and making sure your body and your physical being is kind of like going to be okay. You're looking after your money, you're looking after the social interactions that you rely upon for your survival and for your reputation and all that kind of stuff. You're in that state of mind to protect yourself so that you can like pay your bills and look after your physical health, which is hard enough for most people. Okay, that is just like hard enough, and your rational, logical consciousness, so you don't get like drawn into all kinds of weird thinking. And right now the world is weird. Okay, the normal world is weird, so you got to be able to survive harder. So you need to have that logical, rational, skeptical state of mind as well for your normal life. Otherwise, things get a bit complex. You get a bit crazy. Okay. So of course, normal people aren't going to have these experiences, but people who like vanish off to like a monastery somewhere and dedicate their lives to just contemplation and prayer and meditation and chanting and having candles all around them and being purely in a temple environment are more likely to have the occasional weird thing happening. People who do an awful lot of the whole church thing, if it's not like the sort of like evangelical style, which I think actually separates people, okay, from spiritual experience, and instead hypes them up and cults them up in some particular way, which can be good if you're motivating people to like give to charity and do charitable things, but it's not necessarily, the way I see it, and I could be wrong, but the way I see it, it's not really conductive to having some kind of abnormal, okay, experience. But if you can like do things, little things in your life to make it more likely that you'll be able to enter into that like state of mind and state of being with all of those like mind expanding ideas that come from like even those science documentaries about how massive the universe is, as well as, you know, getting deeply into your prayer and your meditation and that kind of stuff, then it's more likely that something weird will happen at some point. You know, obviously, if it doesn't, it doesn't matter. It's not, you know, it doesn't matter. I mean, for some people, oh my God, I've got to have these experiences. Why? You don't always need to have it if you just need to survive. Okay? Well, it'll answer some questions. No, it won't. It'll give you more questions. That's what's so weird about the whole thing. All right? You know, if you're trying to get involved in all this stuff because you want the answers, you won't have it. That's right. It's just like if like there weren't any books around about the deep sea, but yet you were the person who invented like a really, really good diving bell, and you went into the deep sea and you saw like a giant octopus for the first time, or you know, something crazy, you would come back essentially with more questions, but everyone you talk to will want to have the concrete answers. So the only thing you could give them will be a folk myth. That's why there's so many folk myths about, you know, angelic beings and demons, and everyone's so like terrified of black magic and all that kind of stuff, because the only thing that people have got is essentially the folk myths. And that's why there's so many people who are like running religious groups and you know, occult groups who don't know what they're thinking. It's like when you're like, when I was 20, I was hanging out with all these people, and like now I'm 43 this year. I'm looking back at them and thinking, why on earth do they say that stuff? Why do they do that stuff? It was crazy. It was stupid. You know, there's things wrong with them as people. Okay? You know, why on earth were these people so damaged and damaging? Well, you know, they were younger. They didn't know the things which I know now. They had issues which they didn't really have a chance to be able to deal with. All right, and that's what the rest of society is like. Right, the whole of the rest of society is just like that. Literally, the whole thing. You know, we're all. Doesn't matter how old you are. Okay, you will still have some immaturity. It doesn't matter. You know, there's always going to be like issues getting in the way, issues of thought, issues of belief, issues of identity and loyalty, and all this stuff, which is going to like separate you away from whatever is true. And people want a hard and fast truth, but there aren't any hard and fast truths. You have to like go out there and experience things and start drawing like some kind of like crazy fucked up conclusion, because that's all you've got. And once you've got that conclusion, it will probably be wrong. It may be like a very like coarse grained photograph of like, you know, of something, all right? But if you were to like move thousands of years into the future, then you can get like the most like high definition whatever, you know, proper 3D HD, you know, using technology to zoom in and look at all the fucking molecules and all the rest of it. You then have more knowledge. But no one has that quality of reasoning, knowledge, or understanding. That's the problem. Okay? This is why, alright, people are thick, society is thick, people are crazy, and why there is only like folk myths and the rest of that, which is like holding people in a state of fear and panic about something they shouldn't be afraid and panicky about. I don't even know if any of that made any sense, but jeepers, you know, I mean, like, I just like, damn, you know, get the camera going, talk to it, get people to at least think about something. I don't even know if I've actually helped you. Hopefully I have, but there's been an awful lot going on in my mind. I just tried to like condense it into a short bit there, and hopefully that's like, I don't know. Keep cool, don't go crazy, peace, everything is like universal and crazy.